It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Mariah Afolabi Brand. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Nima Akasha Zibiri and Visi Ubu. How are you guys doing? Good to see you. I missed you guys so much.
Yeah, we missed you. We're grateful to God for life.
Yes. Have you been last 2 weeks now?
Yeah, I'm just so grateful that we all survived.
Yes.
Because I was really scared. I haven't cried in, let me say, like 2 years. Because I'm a very happy girl.
Yeah.
I hardly let things
Break
get
down.
Yeah, but I broke down in front of the world on my IG live, and people were like, "Yeah, you're a strong woman, you shouldn't cry." I said, no, allow me to feel this, because if anything happens, God forbid, you know. So I was very in touch with my emotions, and I could now start imagining how you guys that actually were there were feeling. I wasn't there, and I was disoriented. I missed all my deadlines for my courses. I had to call them and beg them to extend it for me, that I wasn't in that space to be reading or thinking of anything serious. But I'm grateful to God that we're fine, we're back, we're going to be better, and I hear you guys are eating a lot now. Do you need more food?
Honestly, I've been overeating, but I'm trying to control myself. I just started eating lots of sweets and all that, but I'm okay. I'll adjust. How are you doing, Nima? How's the last 2 weeks been for you?
Amazing. A lot tiring. More. I just constantly feel tired. I think dealing with post-trauma is always something that gets me to this reflective mode. I just like to be on my own. I don't want to take calls. So those of you calling and feeling bad, I'm seeing the calls, but I don't feel like taking them. So my phone is constantly on silent.
Take your time.
I don't want to talk too much. And then getting to the studio this morning. You know, I drove to the other studio.
Okay, you haven't been here.
From there, you know, I just kept saying that, you know, it will be better days.
It will be well.
Better days are coming.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, good. It's all good. So a lot is happening. Today's Tuesday, you know, we do our health topics today. So we're discussing the mental health a bit later, because it's after this period.
Yeah.
A lot of people, it's not just us that happened, that those things, every Nigerian is traumatized.
Yes.
We've been through the last 2 weeks as a nation, and we're coming out bigger and stronger. But there's something that's quite repeating in the papers about social media and the role it plays, and the fact that even us, we did mention something very critical yesterday, that even the fact that we came on the show that day was part of the feedback we got on social media. I mean, people were criticizing us, lots of insults, saying that what would they say tomorrow? Those you know, they're calling us names. You know, and that in itself made us feel like, listen, we have to speak. People should not make these judgments about us and assume that we are going to be quiet. So social media, there is debate, all the various angles of social media is something that is worth debating and discussing. But it's an ongoing conversation, and we want social media. At the same time, we also need to, those who are peddling fake news, who are using it as a tool to destroy, should be actually brought to book. I think that's where the conversation is leading. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, we'll start with the nation. North's leaders. Protests hijacked to divide Nigeria. Airlines owe federal government $6.9 million, $19.3 million, says minister. President Trump and Biden go head-to-head. Who wins, Trump or Biden? That's what the papers say. Suspect kills girlfriend. What's the result? 65% pass NECO. Ocean workers hold thank you walk with Oyetola. All right, which story are we taking here?
The human angle.
There's a human interest story, yes, about the...
So, Johnson, a 31-year-old man, allegedly strangled his girlfriend after they had an argument, according to him, in a hotel room. And so he strangled her and ran away. While the hotel, they were doing their cleanup, they found the dead body of the young lady, and then reported to the police. They were taken to the hospital. Investigations were carried out, and they were able to trace this young man who actually said that they got into an argument, and while they were fighting, the young lady fainted, but he's been taken into police custody. Investigations are ongoing. They are going to be likely running an autopsy to ascertain what exactly happened.
All right, you taking the major headline? I was going to take the major headline here.
Okay, let's do here.
The northern leaders have said that they've condemned the subversive tendencies and separatist agenda promoted in the guise of the #Highendness protest, asserting that they are committed to indivisibility and indissolubility of the country.
So these northern leaders of the 19 northern states, all of them, we met in Kaduna and had this meeting where they discussed the protest as a divisive tool by some people to break this country, and insisted that they stand against that division. They also mentioned and in reprisal, you have other groups speaking, other regions speaking. The Indigbo has said, restructuring has already started. We are not going to stop. We need to look into certain issues. I remember before we went on that long break, we took the issue of the 5 billion paid to Zamfara State as part of, gold. So we really need to be sincere when we say we want a Nigeria, we must want a Nigeria that is fair to everybody. This balance cannot continue to tilt one way. And to discuss issues does not mean we are dividing issues. Right. We know police brutality is serious. Look at what happened in Benin when they were discussing, when the panel probing this police brutality and the hashtag and the protest started. Somebody came with it since 2013. They've been looking for their family member. Right. That person was arrested by police until date has not been seen. A 31-year-old man at the time. I think what is also important. Some of these issues are sincere and genuine. Yeah. We must come from that place where we are empathetic and serious, not
I would
from
even,
one side.
Expect that the northern governors would pay more attention to what is happening in the northern states. We have a lot of killings. A lot of them are not really reported. If you have people who live in the north, they constantly tell you that most of these killings, we don't even get to hear and see, hear of them. So they should focus what is happening. How are they planning to secure the lives of the people in their care?
And also interestingly, based on the papers, you see, I think Indigbo also highlighted that when these kind of things happen, they now begin to bring in all these colorations. Oh, it's politicized. Yes. Oh, it's a separatist agenda. The truth is that, is there police brutality? Yes,
there is.
Protest there was a protest that actually was trying to bring the stop to that. Yes, was it hijacked? Yes, some can say it was hijacked, but it's always wrong to just have it that blanket coloring.
Because in the same meeting where they were sitting, they tried to talk against social media and call for a censoring of social media. I could agree with them, because when the IG came and said, what started this entire protest was that Ugeli video from Delta State where somebody was saying they've killed somebody and they left him on the road. And they found that video to have been, just...
that gone viral.
It was fake news. The guy was making the video and trying to create fear in people. The facts he was putting out were not the facts of the issue, and presently he's being tried in court. When the IG painted that story, yes, you might call for censoring, but you don't use that same voice to say they were trying to divide this country because they protested.
Okay, let's move on very quickly to the Daily Sun. Northern governors alleged plot to topple Buhari. I'm ready, prepared for 2023 election, Pastor Tunde Bakari. Father Mbaka, president surrounded by liars. House of Reps halts airport concession. Strike, we're on the verge of agreement with ASU, says government. #EndSARS, we had option of shutting social media, says FG. Alleged fraud, EFCC grills, detains ex-FIRS boss Fowler. Which story are we taking here?
Father Mbaka.
Father Mbaka is speaking again.
At his adoration ministry in Enugu, he was addressing his congregants, and he was talking about the slow response of the president to the protest as he started, saying that, he lashed in, that you failed to respond on time, and this brought about this, and accused the people around him for being liars, and, not just liars, but wicked liars, that they magnify the lies they tell the president. They don't let him get in touch with the true realities on ground. And
another thing I thought he said that was profound. They said that, he said, this is not about #EndSARS or IPOB. Nobody's fighting any government. What they're fighting is bad governance. And he also said that the government expect that these young men will keep watching the country being swindled and looted by politicians. So these are, according to him, was trying to paint a picture of why the protest happened, why those people hijacked the protest, and
these are supposedly all the supporters of the president. I think when your supporters start to feel bad about you, don't think that they're trying to. You need to ask yourself questions and check and look back and see.
Is there something you wanted to say about that?
No.
Okay, moving on now to Daily Trust. Northern governors, Nigeria indivisible. We talked about that already. Soldiers not ordered to shoot. Hashtag NSAS protest, says federal government. Return to duty, Edo begs police. Murik Macban kick as hoodlums destroy mosques and burgle shops in Enugu. Buhari gave the nod for the rescue of the American captive. America decides today, please, our president gave the approval. Who has that story?
I have the story. So according to our people, they said the American citizen that was kidnapped somewhere in Niger Republic along the border between Niger and Nigeria was, sort of brought into Bono.
Yes. And
they said, when the American consulate involved the Nigerian government, they agreed that, he could be rescued. They consulted, and the president, Muhammad Buhari, was advised to give permission for them to come out.
Please, can you give us the story?
So, the American wanted to rescue their citizens, but they knew that they couldn't just enter another man's country. So they called our president several times.
Okay.
He refused to answer them. Eventually, he was not advised. Let these Americans now come inside. Give them approval. So we now give them the nod. Okay, go ahead, enter our territory.
Give them the nod.
Give them the nod. And it was after that nod that they successfully rescued the American citizens. We need that nod to rescue other Nigerian citizens.
To rescue
Sharibu and other Nigerian citizens who have been kidnapped by these elements.
They said when they called with a Nigerian number, they knew they were in Nigerian soil. This kind of intelligence that they portray in the stories.
Okay, moving.
Edo State, yes. So the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, has appealed to officers of the Edo State Police Command to return to their duty post. He's appealing and he's promising to rebuild all the police stations that have been burnt down. He's also promising to ensure that all the officers who were injured will be taken care of by the states. They are in several hospitals receiving treatment. So he's asking that peace be restored, and he's going to do everything within his power. I want to see more governors come out to do this for their people.
Makinde has joined the
Governor Makinde also
500 million
from different states
to give to those police family members who have lost their loved one. Moving on to the Punch. Highendness Afenifere Middle Belt disagree on North alleges regime change plot. Soldiers detained for flogging Oyo lady over indecent dressing and shaving a youth's hair. Lekki shooting Sanwo-Olu promises owners tax relief and support. Amotekun arrests 6 suspected looters in Ondo. Again, EFCC arraigns Soswam, ex-commissioner, for 3.1 billion naira fraud. WAEC holds over 200,000 candidates results and records 64% pass. FG recorded 409 billion naira fiscal deficit in August. And okay, I think we talked about
the human angle story.
Yes. Let's start with the human angle. Then we'll come
so
to
we
the
saw
other
the viral video of a lady who was being flogged by the police. A few days before that, we also saw another video of young men who were laid in the mud and they were being flogged. And so investigations are ongoing right now. The police, the Oyo State Security Outfit is saying that, because this happened in Ibadan, and they are saying that Ibere actually, and they are saying that is it Bere or Bere?
Bere.
Bere, okay. And they are saying that they've started investigations. Those soldiers who were caught committing those atrocities to civilians on the streets would be, would definitely be punished for it, prosecuted for it. So they are having there's something internal, court martial. It's happening right now. So some people are saying that aside from those ones we saw the viral videos, a lot is going on in that community. Soldiers are, going on the streets, shaving the hairs of young men, beating them up, and so they were supposed to be helping them, curtail the protesters, but now they are being the ones committing the atrocities.
The Minister for Education blaming past administrations for ASU's continuous strike. This is over 7 months of strike. So students are now children at home, because Nigerians are children. There are now children sitting at home for over 7 months because the federal government has refused to settle these issues of 1.3 trillion naira agreement they had with ASU. He's saying that the past administrations that had that agreement with ASU knew that money was not possible, and they shouldn't have gone into that agreement. My argument is that they also agreed that it will be paid in tranches. Since government is a continuum, every government coming into power should have budgeted for that payment so that we are not where we are. Not that when you come, you are still renegotiating some issues. you come in, there's an agreement with ASU. If your interest is continuous, good quality education for Nigerian students, those are not non-issues. Okay. You should also budget for that money as you are budgeting for, renovations of, say, National Assembly and all of that.
Okay, I was going to take a final paper, Vanguard, on paid salaries, civil servants besiege Head of Services Office. Senate, FG disagree over $5 billion bailout for airline operators and others. U.S. election, America decides today. Why youth revolted by Iyorcha Ayu. I was going to take the story about the aviation because the chairman Senate Committee on Aviation, I can't get his name right now, he was insisting, he does minister. So he was insisting that the bailout that the federal government of 5 billion naira was insufficient, that they needed more for the airlines to restart their businesses, that it's important for us to support them. But the federal government is saying that it's 5 billion that we have right now. I mean, that's all we can afford for now. But he was insisting that they have to increase that number based on the fact that these businesses will collapse if they are not probably built due to the COVID-19 pandemic that caused the huge collapse for their businesses. Okay, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we move on to topics concerning the police. Recently, it seems like the police have not been out there doing their job to protect Nigerian citizens, and a lot of people are worried about this development. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So after the effect of NSAS protests, this later turned violent and led to the loss of lives. Many Nigerians across states say the police is showing little or no interest in securing lives and property of citizens. Reports also has it that some areas are experiencing traffic because there are no security personnel to control the flow of traffic. Now, what are your general thoughts on this? You can call us on 090-241-63440. That's 090-241-63440. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect, hashtag YourVTVC, so we can read your tweets. Okay, so I'd like to start with Nima because I know your area, you always see quite a lot of security personnel. Yes. And it's important to know if you observed any police recently. Was in the papers yesterday, I think one of the police PR was saying that he cannot force police to come out right now, that many of them are demoralized, the armory have been looted, many of their uniforms have been taken away, and we can't really blame the police at this time. So many of them don't feel that motivation to come and protect lives and property. In your view, let me start with in your area, have you seen any police officers?
No, I haven't. But for traffic, I've seen LASMA. So okay. I went out since the incident on Saturday, sorry. And until I got to Igondo, on the Alimosho end of town, I saw LASMA at Igondo. I saw them at Egbeda. They were at Isheri. And on Sunday morning, the neighborhood watch joined them from that Ikola side of town back into Lagos. And they were walking. So they actually helped to ease traffic. But I didn't feel secure because I didn't see the security, the police, you know. And these are areas where anything happens. So usually I drive with my phone, with my map on, looking for faster access route. I didn't dare leave my phone out, you know, because I know the people, managing traffic, it's not their business to try to get someone out of. You know the hawkers, how they take advantage, looking into your cars. Some beggars will press into your cars, and you know that security, I didn't feel it. The moment I found someone near my car, I just didn't even try to wind down. That kind of thing was. I think we need the police.
In your view, what do you think?
I haven't seen the police, but though I've seen LASMA, but I don't feel really secure right now because I know how it can be when the police is not there. You know, there's this sense of security you see when you're moving, you're driving by, and you see policemen. You have a sense of security that if anything happens, these people are there to protect me. And I know right now that we are all hurting. The events of the past weeks is making people are still finding time to heal, and it cuts across not just the people but the police as well. They were hurt as well. We were hurt as well. So I think it's not the time for you to say Nigerians should be on their own, because what you should be doing as whether the IG of police, the federal government, is to boost the morale of the police. It comes with the territory. That's the job. You were harassed. You were beaten up. Topper's car was burnt and all that, but you had to show up for the job because the job is very important. Aside from the fact that you're passionate about the job, it's your civic responsibility, you know, to educate the people, to hold government accountable, and so you're here. So you don't tell me that because you don't feel, because of what has happened, you may not ask people to go back to their jobs. I feel there's something we're missing.
The truth is also, I mean, in fairness to the police, they were really bashed. These people, I mean, there was an article I read that somebody was showing, doing like a recall of all that they've lost. Police stations, many of them, even they burned down their houses. Family residents where police stay. They took their refrigerators, all their various amenities within the house. They've rendered quite a number of police helpless right now. Yeah. They have nothing to fall back on. So they already feel demoralized. Is it the same people that harassed us, that burned down my house, that are now going to protect? So yes, we've been talking about NSAS. We're talking about against police brutality. But there are some good policemen who have done their job diligently, and they're all victims of the same system where they've not been properly compensated for the work they've been doing. So at this point, what can be done to regenerate that morale? I know that the IGP is coming to Lagos today, I'm told, that maybe because we wanted to get in a few senior officers of the police to come to the show today to share with us what they are working on. But I believe that the IGP hopefully is here to do the same thing we're talking about this morning. Yes.
So this is what I have to say to everybody. So we are the police, and the police are us. Well, with the situation we are in now, we didn't plan it. This protest covered the interest of the police as far as I am concerned.
Yes, it did.
You know, we were fighting for better pay for them, better welfare for them, proper barracks for them. Some of the barracks burnt. You know, they are not even places people would love to live in. Starting with the one in Obalende, you know, buildings are dilapidated. We have barracks around. Police officers working within the police cannot even live within those places. So some of them, even with this meager amount, suffers to pay rent and suffer traffic and all of that back to their whatever places they are posted. We are fighting for them. Yes, they lost. I cannot even turn a blind eye to the kind of abuse that they suffered, knowing that I have to face Orile and all the issues that happen on that axis of town every day. But then again, these people did not. Nigerians are not the one fighting the police. We were all victims of those wherever they came from, who hijacked and took advantage of this. So it would be nicer if the police, no matter what, despite all that we've been through, come out and do the jobs that you know they were called and consider it a call to service. And Nigerians too, because we've found out that it is only when we submit to that security that it works. The people who didn't submit went into police offices, burnt them, and even abused the uniform and abused the system. So we Nigerians too should, to willingly submit. It must be a situation that works. Yes. Unfortunately, it didn't work. That's why we have the units that abuse people. In this Lagos, I listened to the chairperson of the Lagos Security Trust Fund on Sunday on the discourse with Alede, and you will be amazed that within this whole chaos, the RRS was functioning. In all of the madness that we have, that people had to protest against, the RRS remains a unit of the police that is exemplary, that other states should copy, and other states were copying. So if we know that it is about proper welfare, funding,
thank you, Nima, for taking us there, because the RRS, obviously, the Lagos State, obviously, is the one that is funding and helping out with the RRS. Yes. Now, that brings me to what Governor of Kaduna State said in the papers today, saying that the entire past 2-3 weeks have shown the need and importance for state policing. Because obviously, they are the ones that are closer to the people. In this kind of situation, we needed that connection. Now, and that's the issue of state policing. Also, you raised something that wasn't important. I think it's time for us to also, as citizens, begin to volunteer. It's easy to say, what is the government doing to help the police? But we as a people, they are a community. So why don't we go there? If it is couch, then old couch you're not using again, give it to them. Old chairs, let them the station, paint their station for them, support them. If it's a refrigerator you don't need, take it over there. Drinks, if you're selling drinks, just give them something. At this time, Nigerian police need help. They are the bad eggs, which they are being persecuted, and we've heard that There are panels of inquiry currently been reviewing all the various allegations. Yes, that's ongoing. But the police that have been doing their job diligently, we as citizens must show support in some way and give of ourselves and our service. This time for churches and mosques to come around and say, what are we going to do for the police next door?
Yeah. So I want to state that the people are not against the police.
Right.
We are for the police.
Right.
If you check the NSAS movement, if you check all of their recommendations, what they wanted police to be properly taken care of. Because for you to protect the lives and property of other people, you need to be okay. You need to have a sense of belonging. You can't just be suffering and protecting someone you feel that has more than you do. So we need to handle that. What I expect from the federal government, since the police right now, we haven't started the state policing, so we're still having the federal policing. So it's under the federal government. What I expect them to do right now is to ensure that they give them welfare. You know, find something, do something, you know, do a package for them that would boost their morale. They are going back to work. They are not supposed to protect us with bows and arrows. Provide ammunition for them. What do they need? Do they need the rubber bullets? Do they need tear gas? What is it that they need? For those that are who have been displaced, because a lot of them have lost their homes, find, you know, a palliative for them. Give them that, you know, boost that morale properly so that they can go.
For a second. You see, what we as citizens, all of us, we always do find this, find that. We are all in this country.
I know.
We all understand the issues of revenue.
I know.
We all understand the issues of...
I know, no. You know why I say don't go there? The VIPs are being protected today. Their police are well equipped. So why don't you, you know, find a way to share it to the other police that are supposed to protect the common man?
So we created a security trust fund in Lagos under the Babatunde Raji Fashola's government at the time. What that government has been able to do with the funds the banks pay into, the corporate entities pay into, and all of that, so that the RRS remain a unit that makes that service, the police service, dignified. Other units will not be envying those people that these people do have two heads. They even have what they call, according to the chairperson, they call a psychological evaluation for them, retraining, and all of those things that the other units have been denied. So this thing can work. Why not just copy that template overall the entire system so that there's no special response unit alone? Lagos State had to use the special response unit to boost investments in Lagos. And we're looking at investments presently. Let's do that across board. Nigeria, open a trust fund for the entire police, and let us have somewhere people can actually pay into and we're sure can be audited and all that kind of system that they use for trust fund.
Let's go on a break. As I said, the governor of Kaduna State reminded us that maybe this is a time for us to begin to insist on having that constitutional review to ensure for police, state policing. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back to continue the conversation. Stay with us, don't go anywhere. Thanks for staying with us. So we have the GM of LASMA to join the conversation, because in Lagos State, obviously, aside from the issue of security personnel, we also need traffic, free flow of traffic. And it's important to know what LASMA is doing at this time. So we have the GM of LASMA, Mr. Olajide Oduyoye. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning. I am here.
Good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. So, we heard this recently that the governor had asked that the LASMA should not arrest anyone. Could you tell us what happened and what caused this, and what are the new steps LASMA is taking to apprehend defaulters?
Let me clarify. The governor never gave any such directive whatsoever.
Okay.
If you check the social media, you'll find out that is the same story that we've been debunking from the beginning of the year. It was just a private company that wanted to be naughty, decided to promote their brand name, and then they used LASMA because LASMA was popular. And then somebody else has gone back to go and retrieve the same fake message, brought it out and said, the governor said. The governor would never issue a directory through social media without a name, without emblem, without anything. The governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, is someone who can speak. And all the areas he's been going around, that would have been one thing he would have said that all of us had. So we need to dismiss that for status. Secondly, how do you enforce anything, without going through the law?
Okay.
The law is the one that gives you the power to do anything so that you can have a semblance of peace in your environment. And traffic is just one of them. Building control, the way you use the way you use the roads, the way you do anything. The reason why you have control is so that it can be enforced. Even the Quran and the Bible, there are means of laws that we must follow. So the governor cannot accept the House of Assembly. The law says it has changed. And LASMA henceforth, from a certain date, cannot arrest anymore, and this is what they will do. So let us just leave that aside. I am so excited about all the comments that you ladies are making. I am too excited. You know why? Because you're speaking the truth. You are speaking in-depth truth. But we need to analyze and focus on how we go forward. And it is one of those things that the government of any level, whether it is local, state, or federal, you cannot put men and officers of Nigerian indigents to enforce other people that have the capacity and the capability to oppress them. Because Nigerians were proud people, and it takes us 5 seconds to assess a human being and say, this one is beneath me. Unfortunately, we are that kind of people. So when you see a police officer on the road, and he looks vulnerable, and you see a LASMA officer on the road, he looks vulnerable, you just, there's a spirit inside of you that says, this one is beneath me. So I can tell him anything, I can talk to him anyhow, I can do whatever it is. And when they react to do their job, you feel it is an offense. That is why you now find big people picking up phones and calling the GM of LASMA, calling the governor and say, oh, I was arrested. You call the ID. Right. Everybody has big person. It is either by cousin or by whatever.
Right.
But right now, ladies, we need to beg our men, and I'm talking about police officers and LASMA officers. We need to beg them. And when I say beg, it's not because it's not their job. Of course, they have the responsibility. They're getting paid. But when you're working in an environment that is volatile, and you need to appeal to the inner mind that don't worry about it, because things are forgiven, no matter what it is that the little budgets are doing.
Right.
You are okay, we are with you. I am telling you things will change.
Okay, let me get...
Right now, the public, the way they are carrying on, they are not showing enough love from their side to say, you know what, even if you are a sin, I am forgiving you the same way Christ has forgiven. Please come, we need you, because without you, we cannot survive this traffic. And I'm telling you, the ordinary LASMA officer would enjoy that, I am important, even though I don't have money, even though they have not given me salary.
Okay, let me get a few more questions in for you. Let me get a few more questions in for you. Go ahead.
Mr. James, the difference I have noticed, you know now, in that my side, another side of town. So when I mentioned, talked earlier, I talked about how I saw LASMA officials in Alimosho, but as at this morning at Mile 2, is there a challenge in that area, maybe because of the uniqueness of the area, or what exactly would you need to make sure that, you know, the people working for you in that area are safe? And post the protest and all the looting, what exactly affected the services of LASMA in Mile 2? Because at this morning, they were not outside. They used to be every morning before the issue of you know, the looting happened that Tuesday. When I walked, I saw them, but this morning they were not there. The traffic in Mile 2 for the past few weeks have been terrible. We have trucks parked. What are the unique challenges that you have? And I'm saying this because I want you to sincerely talk to those in authority who can help change it, or you talk to the people using the roads.
Are you there?
I'm listening.
Yes.
Just
Go ahead.
So I wanted you to address the issues.
Did you get Nima's question?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yesterday, I went out with my management team, went to all about 5 offices that were completely erased. And when I say completely erased to become an eyesore. So these areas now, we don't even have a shelter to even sit under. All right? Now, all the vehicles, patrol vehicles, because the patrol vehicle is the one that allows officers to go from one point to the other. All the vehicles, patrol vehicles in all the 5 zones that were attacked, completely burnt, completely. So right now, we don't even have mobility. Even the ones that are working, they start even that scary moment that because it is a branded vehicle, nobody wants to put themselves at risk to go in there for fear of being attacked. But we need mobility. You need to be able to, because if you're static, you become a sitting target. All right? So there are 2 phases of traffic control. There's one where you man each junction, but you must be able to go back somewhere to go and take a rest. You must be able to go somewhere to get a pep talk. and that one has been taken away from us right now. So we need every kind of assistance, just like you mentioned. If it is stable that you don't need, if it's a plastic chair, if you have a vehicle that is just sitting in your arms and you don't have anything to do with it, that it can be used for patrol for now, just borrow us. We will return it. Just borrow. And if you can give, just give. For every kind of assistance from well-meaning citizens to make this thing work. Because listen, you can be making 1 million, but if you're not going to get where the million is, the million is not yours.
Right.
So we are all in this thing together in this way.
Right. Okay.
So we need that help. Then the other part is the help is just to acknowledge the officers that are on the road. Just acknowledge them.
Right.
That thank you, God bless you, and go your business.
Okay.
And most importantly, do not let the devil or the bad spirits make you take one way or our legs, because it now defeats anything that the officer who is just managing himself defeats the other, because he's not thinking, should I educate him? Should I enforce this thing? Should I fight? Should I get angry? Should I? And we're talking about human beings that are already
Okay, let me get a few more questions in for you.
All right, sir. So we cannot overemphasize the fact that we need you on the streets to help make things easier for all of us, the commuters on the roads. And I hope that Nigerians that are watching will learn to be more civil when they come in contact with, last mile officials. We are together in this. But I wanted to ask, how prepared are you for the Ember months? There's going to be a lot of gridlock right now. We're approaching December gradually. And are you prepared to be on the streets to help ease traffic for us?
I like your serious question. I was prepared. Before this incident, we were prepared. Now you ask me, I am facing the challenges of today. The Ember month is something that is now around 7 weeks coming.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to think about that. But we have challenges today that need to be resolved. It is when we resolve what is in front of us right now, before the Ember month looks like something that can be glorious.
Okay.
That would be the light after
Okay,
the
let me.
Right now, we're in a dark tunnel, and we need to come out of it.
All right. So let us be very clear, because we and your view will try to encourage citizen volunteerism. So definitely we'd like to support you. So could you tell us in clear terms what you would like us to have? What we can do to support you? You've told us that when we see you on the road, we should at least acknowledge your presence, definitely. Then within your office spaces, what can we do? Is it possible for you to put a part on your website where you can actually help tell citizens what your needs are, what supports you? Because we want you to be well equipped for the Ember month. It's really important for us. So what can we do to support you at this time, in a nutshell?
Well, from your angle, what we need is the opportunity to speak with the public, serious awareness, education, because a lot of drivers on the road do not even know their left from their right-hand side, let alone the traffic laws in the states. Because the less obstruction we have on the highway, honestly, the easier it becomes for all of us to move, and even for last mile officers.
Okay.
Right? So we need that opportunity to speak with the public, to speak with your viewers, to extend this information. Because driving affects all of us, the road usage affects all of us. So for some of us, like TDC, we just need to, we need to be first courses, we need to be married. If you can be talking about traffic and what needs to be done every single day, sooner or later it will sink into the head of drivers.
Right.
It is not about enforcement. Who is interested about enforcement? If we do the right thing, nobody needs to enforce anything.
Right.
All right? So our viewers must stand up and say, okay, I am a viewer of PDC. I respect these ladies on this show. And because of that, I make a vow that I will never be one of those that will violate any traffic laws. I am telling you, Ember month will be nothing.
All right.
There is volume of traffic. We will not encourage them. If you need to do your shopping, start doing your shopping now. Don't wait till the end of December.
All right, I need
those kind of things. We need to speak to people.
Okay. Can you confirm for us, as of today, this morning, do we have last mile officials in every area of the state today?
I can confirm that we have nothing less than 75% on the roads today. I can confirm that. Nothing less than 75%.
Okay. So just to close this.
I to put in a spot and say 100%, then you now go to one junction near your office, and then you don't get it last Monday.
We like the truth here, sir.
Everybody is there.
Okay. So in order to have a proper balanced, representation on the show, yesterday when you tweeted some of your visits, pictures of you, were on social media about visiting areas that were bought. I saw pictures that were gory. But some people went under those, posts and tweeted that, that some high-handedness of your officers, they don't even have a panel to report to, unlike that of the police now. That there's nobody to take a last-mile abuse to. What are the chances of getting, fairness or,
panel of inquiry?
Yes, on some of those issues? Because whether you like it or not, some of them exist.
I totally understand the comment that you've made. It is something that we've been working on, but like I keep on saying, the system is there to address these sort of issues. If I arrest you wrongfully from your point of view, the onus is for me as an enforcement officer to go and justify the arrest with evidence to the lawyers. We have the magistrates that look at every offense. If you, however, because for personal reasons, you choose not to go and explain yourself to a magistrate, you can now decide to pay the fine that is appropriated to the offense in which you are accused of. It's a choice. But you have the opportunity to go and defend yourself. When people use the word high-handedness, it doesn't work in an enforcement industry. The only thing that everybody needs to work on is the law. If the law says don't eat gala while you're driving, it is the law. Until the law changes, if I tell you that I need to arrest you for eating gala on the road because there will be a problem, I am just doing what the law says. If I now, on my own, as only the GM, decide to forgive you, that's fine because the GM is allowed to do that. But every other officer cannot say, I forgive you.
Right.
Because they don't have the power to do so.
Right.
So when people are begging and saying, why are you so iron-headed? Why are you so mean? That I have been begging. The officer does not have any power to forgive.
All right. All right, so let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So we still have the GM of LASMA, Mr. Olajide Oduyoye, with us. Yes, you had a question for him, Mr.
Yes, sir. So what we see sometimes is when there are traffic offenders on the roads, we see LASMA officials chasing them down, drivers and commuters down the road, which brings harm not just to the commuters but also to the LASMA officials. Have you found a way to handle such situations so that it doesn't degenerate and endanger the officials?
Yes. If it's working because of COVID, we would have had a system in place where it would just be about capturing the offender's plate number, and then we send them a fine ticket for the offense and evidence of the fine, and then they choose to pay in the time allotted, and if they don't, then it goes into the system where you can now, when you find the vehicle parked somewhere, even in their own house, you go and arrest or take the vehicle until they pay the fine, right? But because of COVID situation, that process is kind of being delayed, but it is still in the offing. It's going to start soon, and that would completely erase the issue of physical interaction on the issue of arrest between enforcement officers and offenders. But right now, the situation that you displayed, it's one where all of us are not happy about. But we begin to look at, there are people right now that because of the employment situation, they are taking to do Uber or to use their private cars for transportation, just to earn a bit of swell money kind of thing. But in so doing, they are also behaving with some kind of unholy behavior on the roads, becoming an obstruction to traffic flow because of the desperation to pick up passengers all over the place. And it is not just them. In fact, a whole lot of us, we need education. Because you can think of passengers in the peak hours in the morning or evening. Just check any bus stop and ask yourself, why are the passengers not at the bus stop? Why are they spread across the road? And when passengers are on the road, then you have supply and demand. So the people that want to pick them up illegally would also park in the middle of the road to pick them up. And this thing needs to change. It's because we just don't love ourselves. Because you come to a bus stop, you find 10 people there at the bus stop. But because you think you're being smart, you want to enter public transport before the 10 people you met at the bus stop. So you will stand away from the bus stop, encouraging illegal activity. So now LASMA officers see these things happening every day because it's your area. So you will see the same Honda, the same Camry coming every day behaving like this. And you would want, and you would educate. And you would want and you educate from Monday to Thursday. And on Friday, because you're thinking LASMA is not strong and he's just educating, oh, I beg, that's when he's just his own thought, Daddy. You now come to do it on Friday. And the LASMA officer is now thinking, hold on a second, you look like a recalcitrant kind of driver. I need to show you that I am the one inside of this place. You cannot come and destroy my work. And so when you want to arrest him, he begins to take off or begins to want to run you over. The doubtful driver, and that is when you now see officers get so upset that this driver is one of those that needs to be off the road. But then when we capture that thing, because we're not aware of what has been transpiring from Monday to Thursday, we only see the drama on Friday. They will not say, oh, LASMA officers are behaving like dogs. No, the people who are offended are the ones forced in a situation where if I don't behave like this, you don't have any fight. But we need to change the anomaly. And I totally understand from the general public's point of view how it is. But to stop someone from misbehaving on the road, there is more than likely to be a side effect in terms of obstructing that traffic at that moment at the time when you need to effect the arrest.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up at this time with you, but do we have tweets?
There's a question for him. Tweet. It says, how do I prove to a magistrate I was innocent because an officer has pronounced me guilty? Because
the job of the magistrate is to view the situation from either side. If an officer says you've offended and he does not have evidence to prove the offense, the magistrate must acquit. It's simple.
So it's evidence-based.
Come out and say, I have not done this thing. Then the magistrate should ask the officer, show me your evidence. If the evidence is not clear, you must acquit.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up at this time. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning. We appreciate you sharing light on this issue. And we'll continue to work with the 75% on the road, and let us know when it gets to 100%.
Okay, I sure will.
Thank you.
I sure will.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with the GM of LASMA, Mr. Olajide Oduyoye. Now, coming back to you ladies, so I think I heard quite a bit of a cry for help, obviously, at this time. They feel demoralized, many of them do, and I think we also have to participate. I know I saw a video many years ago about senior citizens supporting their policing. So they go out to help in controlling traffic, to help the kids apart going to school, ensuring that there's free flow. That's in the abroad. But here we have quite a number of senior citizens who are just home doing nothing. You know, it's time for you to support in some way. I know it's not the same environment, it's not the same conditions, but I think we also as citizens must begin to take responsibility on our part. What can we do to support these people? They need help. And that's for LASMA, but also the police. I think if there's anything we want to wrap up with this on this show is that let us bring that citizen awareness to supporting those who are supposed to be helping to secure our lives and property. At this time where they've been bashed, thrashed, we need to also show them that, okay, the good ones, we would support you in any way we can. Do we have any more comments on this?
Yeah, for me, I think they also need to be trained to handle people well. So you don't come for a case of we saw you doing this and that, and then you're harassing the person, you're beating up the person, you're already pronouncing the person guilty when the court hasn't said so. So I think and I know that sometimes we like to refuse arrest and do agidi with the police. The education needs to be on both sides. So if you have been accused of something, you invite me to the police station, I come and I explain myself as a civil, citizen, a civilized place, how they handle issues like that. I think our police needs a lot of reinformation, re-education, reorientation. We need a lot of training, and we ourselves should play our part by also obeying the law. All this stubbornness of I know somebody I can call and all of that. I think we should push that away.
Every Nigerian knows somebody that knows somebody. We are all connected. Let me take Nasiru and I come to you. Nasiru, good morning. Are you there? Thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
I thank God Almighty for bringing you people back on the show.
Thank you, sir.
I pray once again that the God Almighty God will continue to protect us all. Amen.
Amen.
On the issue of police, actually, I belong to the PCLC. I'm a friend of the police people. We thank God for the life of the police living now. All these problems, honestly speaking, it goes across everybody. The genuine protesters, they are even defending the police. If we are to face the reality, they are defending the police. They are after the interest of the police. They told all of us that have genuine interest. But the question is to the government. I'm begging. I'm a lover of this government, up in the show. But what is happening now, there's hunger in the land. The truth must be told. There's hunger in the land. The day TVC was born, I was watching this program with my wife live. I saw you, Murayo. I saw the other sister. I felt for you people. Honestly, you are truly a mother indeed. I felt for you people. And no reasonable, no normal person will say, oh, my child, go on the street and start destruction. Destruction is not good. I will not use negative words to qualify those destroying, doing the destruction. But I will plead to them, please, let them allow Nigeria to have peace. We need peace in this country, and God will give us the peace.
Thank you very much.
I'm in support of the PSC, that is asking the police to go back to the street.
Okay.
Please, I'm begging to. Police people should come back. We need them.
Okay.
They need
to do their
us. We
jobs.
all need ourselves.
Thank you very much, sir.
Better.
All right, let's take a
Amen.
few tweets.
So as Mohammed says, until reforms are made and implemented, we owe ourselves to be our own security. A lot of communities have adopted the system of vigilante groups for security purposes. We cannot continue to expose ourselves. I agree with her. I wanted to say something quickly. You know, this morning the governor of Edo State has promised to rebuild the police stations. The one in Ibadan, he has also promised to committed 500 million compensation fund to families of police. Yes, these compensations are good, but we would never have gotten there if the proper welfare of police was priority to these governors. So I think the police should not, be distracted with these small gifts and work for institutional reforms. We need a police service where there's security, insurance, in case of loss of lives, because sometimes in the course of carrying out their duties, they die. All those kind of proper benefits, the type that gives them dignity for that job they are doing, must be holistic and it must be priority to government, so that we never ever have to get here. Then when we now have a bad egg, it's easy to fish out that bad egg and do something.
Okay, we have to wrap up on that, but thank you very much, ladies, and I thank our guests for coming up on the show. We have to end the conversation on police, but I've always said this thing: as they are reforming, please change that uniform. I would continue to canvass with that change of uniform. That black is just horrible. Please make it look like that. Blue and black looks decent. Looks cool. That's all we can take. Let's go on a break. When we come back, it's Tuesday. We have to discuss something on health, and our focus this morning is mental health. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, the event of the hashtag #EndSARS, loss of lives, destruction of properties, took a really different toll on mental health of many Nigerians. All over social media, Nigerians were sharing various stories of how depressed they felt and how depressed they've been. On the show today, our mental health expert will be sharing tips on how to remain sane after this period. Our guest is Ganiya Olokodano. She's a psychologist, and they can also join the conversation later by calling us on 090-241-63440. You can tweet to us at TVC Connect, please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweets. Our guest will be joining us in a moment, but in the meantime, I'm told she's on, but Good morning, Gani. Are you there? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, and my condolences on your loss. May the Almighty cleanse.
Amen.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the last few weeks obviously have been quite traumatic for many Nigerians. Many of us have never experienced this period before. Properties lost, properties burned, loss of lives and all that. How do we begin to heal individually and as a nation as a large?
Yeah, thank you. Like you said, the last few weeks have indeed been very traumatic for a lot of people, not just those that lost one form of property or the other, but indeed the whole nation. Because even people that didn't lose anything, the trauma of seeing the violence and all that via social media, videos that sent and all that is enough to make anybody, feel the impact and have their mental health affected. But before I even talk about, how to even cope, let's even first put what a loss is in perspective, A loss is when, as the name implies, we lose anything, either something that we love or someone that we lose. And such a loss will become traumatic when it now involves some form of violence or significant damage to either lives or properties, and particularly when such could have been prevented. So when somebody experiences such a traumatic loss, it's like their challenges become twofold. First, they cope with that trauma of the violence and all that came with the loss, and then they now also have to live how to cope with their loss. Of course, one of the ways of coping with loss is grieving. It's usually a period where, as humans, we need to grieve, and this is where some of the tips that I would quickly like to share would come in. Because whenever we suffer a loss, whether directly or indirectly, it's very, very important for our mental health that we learn to go through the process of grieving properly so that we can heal at the end. Because grief is a natural process to loss.
Right.
And it's usually an emotional suffering when you feel that something or someone that you love has been taken away from you. In the case of the recent protest and attendant losses, it was even sudden. Most people just got phone calls. Some did not even know that their shops, their businesses, their properties had been looted. I remember reading, I think it was a tweet of somebody that his building had been vandalized, destroyed maybe on Friday. It took until maybe Sunday when one of his friends called him to let him, before he knew that, he had lost such a thing because he wasn't living in that environment. So it's a sudden, loss that many people were not prepared for. Lives were lost, properties were lost, businesses were, vandalized such that some people don't even know where they are going to start from. Coupled with, the last few months with COVID-19 and all that lockdown, a lot of businesses have not been able to sell as much as they could. So there's been lots of revenue.
Let me get a few more questions.
When we understand all this, that this loss can be overwhelming.
Right.
The pain is expected.
Right.
And usually we would experience all kinds of difficult and unexpected emotions.
Right. Okay.
Which can range from shock to anger to disbelief to guilt. And sometimes, overwhelming and profound sadness. I can imagine the trauma that people that their shops and businesses were vandalized are going through now.
All right.
But the good thing is that they don't have to go through it alone.
Okay.
At this critical time, seeking help, seeking professional counseling is very, very important.
All right. Okay.
So, Gania, let's talk about the Nigerian way to forget loss. So, Nigerians suffer loss and think, as long as I get a bank alert, everything will be all right. So, how do we separate this? Because most of these businesses would, of course, love a grant and an assistance to get back on their feet. But how important is it that they seek some form of counseling to help them, through the psychological effect of the loss they suffered?
Yeah, it's important because, again, let me say that the grieving process is usually very individual. each person would grieve in a different way. And so I say that grieving can be subjective. For some, no matter how monumental the loss may look, they are able to bounce back almost immediately. They don't, maybe because of the kind of person they are, their personality, their faith, the support system that they have. You understand? Others may not be able to do so as quickly. And so, however a person decides to go through the grieving process, we can't say, oh, you should get over it. After all, Mr. Lagbaja's shop, he had 5 shops in that complex, and all were vandalized. You just had a small kiosk.
Yeah, complaining.
Crying and complaining. Come on, get over it. Be a man and all that. Be a woman. No, we should allow each person to grieve in the way that is best for them. So, part of the ways of coping is to, for the person who has suffered the loss, and also for those of us that are their support, we need to help them go through that process in a way that is healthy. For the person that has suffered the loss, first, they need to acknowledge their pain. It's very important. This is not the time to deny, oh, this can't be me. It's not me that is happening to. I reject this. It is not my portion. It has happened. It has happened. First, acknowledge your pain. Also accept that this grief can trigger many different and unexpected emotions. It's normal. Such people may just suddenly start crying out of the blue, so to say, when they remember what they have lost, So they may behave in ways that are not looking normal, in quotes, during this period of grieving. They should also understand that the way you are going to grieve is different from the way the next business to you would grieve, the next person. So your grieving process is unique. Deal with it in the way that will make it healthy for you.
Right.
And of course, you can now seek out support from people who care about you. You can go for professional counseling. You can let your family and friends and community rally around you during this time. You should also learn to support yourself emotionally by, first of all, taking care of yourself physically. Most times when things like this happen, because people are so traumatized, they are unable to even think about themselves, They are the last person on their mind, so to say. They may neglect their physical health. Some will not even take their baths. They will not, they will not be able to sleep, which can also lead to other health complications. Some would not eat, So they have to make a conscious effort to try to still live as normal a life as they can.
All right, Gani, let me get in a few more questions for you. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right, ma'am. So, we're people who we're very concerned about perception, how people see us. And sometimes when we are hurting, we try as much as possible to not show our vulnerability. We want to hide, want to show that, okay, I've got this on, I've got this, I can manage, I'm okay, when we are really not okay. And this also boils down to the people around who will tell you to, like you mentioned, man up, it's okay, you'll be fine, and all of that. Now, how do you advise people who are grieving? How do you advise the family members around or friends around to support them? What sort of support is needed at that time? Should they tell them not to cry? What sort of support do you advise for them at that time?
Okay, the best form of support really is just to be there for them. Like I had mentioned earlier, support that are going to help people that have suffered losses during this period. We also need to be equipped on how best to deal with it. Honestly, this is not the time to even be negative. This is not the time for you to come visit somebody that has lost all their business to vandalization, to tell them, oh, please, don't, sit up, be manly, be brave, Just let them be. Sometimes just your presence, being there for them while they probably cry, talk about their loss, or just holding them, keeping them, letting them know that you are there to comfort them. Maybe all that some people need from, as support. This is not the time for you to come up with negative words. This is not the time you go to visit them and be telling them, oh, your own case is even small. Mr. Kamedu's own was worse. I mean, even if they lost just a pin in their shop, it's still a loss, because that pin have generated some form of revenue for them.
Okay, let me ask you this question, because for me, for example, after my own trauma, I mean, the first few days I couldn't sleep. I just blanked out. I was just looking. Everybody, the whole house was quiet. 4:30 a.m. I started feeling sleepy, and then I was up again by 7. Same thing happened for the first few days, and eventually I was able to catch my sleep at some point. And then I went on a sugar rush. I was eating ice cream and cake. I was ordering pizza, taking a milkshake. I was really having a ball, until eventually I had to just tell myself, listen, you need to speak to somebody. If not, you're going to continue on this. And eventually that happened. But also, I went to Tokwe's house and to see Tokwe. And the Tokwe I know, Tokwe has life. So you talk to Tokwe has life. That day I went to her house, I could almost see she was in pain.
She wasn't bubbly.
She wasn't bubbly, and she had lost a vehicle, not a car that somebody dashed her. A car she has worked for tirelessly. We saw her counting her small naira until she got this car, and we all celebrated it, and then it got burnt. So these are losses, but in my own head, just let's put money together, get up a car. Is that the solution? Would that solve the problem? Or does she still need to be counseled? Someone like me, do I just find a way to talk to somebody and start sleeping? I mean, is there a process to this? Is there like something you can just do that the person will feel better immediately? I think that's my question to you.
Yeah, I can only imagine what each of you would have gone through and are going through. But even from your narration, you can see that both of you were part of the incident. You experienced that trauma at the same time. But look at the different ways in which you have reacted. This just buttresses my point that as individuals, we react in different ways. We grieve in different ways. But it doesn't mean that one grieving process is better than the other. What we now need to do is to also now make a conscious effort to let somebody, particularly a professional, help you walk through it. The truth of the matter is that, for instance, if Tokwe were to be giving, yes, people will make contributions for her. If she even got contributions to buy 2 of those cars, it doesn't take away the loss of the car. You know what they usually say, that when a child could lose some money, and then elders will contribute money to that person. They will still remember that 50
money they lost,
even though they now have 500 naira. It's the same way. So yes, support may come in terms of financial aid and all that, even like the government is doing, trying to help some of the businesses bounce back. But that loss is still a loss. So it's also very important that the person gets professional help to help him or her walk through that process, so that he can first of all accept. Because one of the things that people will do during while grieving is that they will deny that it happened. And depending on the kind of person they are, that denial can bring about certain psychological distress. They can begin to have what we call post-traumatic stress disorder. They may find it difficult to even move on. Somebody that has had the business vandalized and looted may be unable to even set up the business again to start. They'll be like, well, because that fear of, what if
something else happens?
Something like this happens again.
Well,
so they need professional counseling, professional therapy to help them go through that process, accept what has happened, and learn how to best deal with such a loss.
Thank you very much.
Depending on the kind of person they are and all other factors. That would be left for the professional.
Thank you very much, Ganiya.
During counseling.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up at this time. Thank you very much, Ganiya Olokodano, who's a mental health expert, telling us exactly how to handle these times. Well, December is around the corner. We're hoping that, I want to party this December. we got to party. By God's grace, everything goes smoothly, and we'll have reason to celebrate. But these are times where we do need professional help. We need to talk to people and to help us manage and deal with the circumstances. Everybody, not only a lot of people of our colleagues in the office lost their cars. There's a gentleman that he bought, I don't know his name, he bought a car, I think within a month or less than a week or so, for 2 weeks. Brand new car, burnt. I mean, the young man is just like, he's also traumatized. Where do I start from? Many of us had cars vandalized. So I totally understand that we need a process. And we shouldn't say because it's not a life that was lost, because it's material loss. People say, it's material. You should be alive. You should be happy that you're alive. No, let us not, let people not grieve. Allow them to grieve no matter what it is. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.